Hey everyone, my name is David Rao and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Pinterest and Instagram, Facebook, and a variety of other places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. I'm excited to just do a really quick video today to share with you a little bit about 3 books that you might consider using for Hispanic Heritage Month. This last month I've been sharing a lot of different books. I did a video about books with Hispanic protagonists that involve music that you could use in your classroom. I did another video about children's books that have basically biographies of Celia Cruz and Carlos Santana, 2 pretty famous musicians that you might consider using for your classroom. And today I wanted to share 2 books about songs, Spanish language folk songs that you might consider using. Because like I said, Hispanic Heritage Month is coming up. It's actually September 15th through October 15th. And so if you want to use these books either during that month or any time of year, it'd be great to have them around. So I found a couple books that I thought would be really great that you can actually get pretty cheap online. So 2 that are Spanish language songs and 1 that someone recommended to me after seeing one of the previous videos. So I just wanted to take just a minute to share with you a little bit about those books. So the first book that I want to share is De Colores. And De Colores is a pretty famous Spanish language folk song. And so it's about, well, the cool thing about this book, it's a very famous old folk song, but it also has a translation into English and some really beautiful pictures. So if you're familiar with the folk song, that's great. If you're not, it goes sort of like this. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son las parajitas que vienen de afuera. De colores desde el arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. And you could go on. The next verse is about the rooster, which is actually fun because in English-speaking countries, roosters say cock-a-doodle-doo, but they don't say that in Spanish-language countries. Roosters say different things. So it goes, canta el gallo con el kiri, 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 kiri. And it's funny, there is an English translation underneath. Sings the rooster with his cock-a-doodle, doodle, doodle, doodle. So they even translate that, which is pretty funny. But it goes through and talks about the rooster and then the hen. It talks about los pollitos, the chickies. And then, of course, it talks a little bit about some of the colors it sees, because really de colores translates to the colors. And so this one would actually be great for spring. If you don't want to use it this month, you could use it in spring. But the translation is right here underneath the Spanish language. So if you want to go line by line, you can, or if you want to just sing it in English, you could. But it's great to be able to sing it in Spanish. So it talks about all the colors that dress up the fields in springtime. The colors in the little birds that come from the outside, and then the colors in the rainbow that we see. So it's just a really, really pretty, wonderfully illustrated book that's great. Lots of colors, lots of different cool images that you could use with your kids. This is, if you can see, it's actually a board book. So this is really made for preschool, really, but you can take it and use it with any grade. And it would be, the nice thing about it is because it's a board book, it's so sturdy, it'd be easy to put into a center and you wouldn't have to worry about it getting, mutilated by kids because it's made to be handled sort of roughly. So this is a super cool book, De Colores. It's listed under its first translator, Patty Rodriguez. It's actually translated, it says, by Patty Rodriguez and Ariana Stein. And you can find that, I'm going to put a link in the caption here to, I have a list of Amazon books that are just a ton of books, but you can find it there. And so there's going to be a direct link to that if you're interested. But when I searched it on Amazon, I looked up and it has it listed by Patty Robinson as the main author. But I'd be happy if you have a question about that, can't find it on that Amazon list, shoot me a message and I'll send you whatever you need for a link or to help find it better. The next book that I wanted to show you is another famous folk song in Spanish language, and it's called Los Pollitos, which actually that word comes up in De Colores because it talks about the little chicks, and Los Pollitos means the little chicks. So this is a super fun song, and again, it's a board book, so it's really made for younger children, but would be great for other grades too. So it goes like this. Los pollitos dicen pío, pío, pío. Because, again, in a Spanish-speaking country, chicks don't say like peep, peep, or cheep, cheep, or whatever. They say pío, pío, pío. And so this flap lifts up to show the chick singing pío, pío, pío. Let me start again. Los pollitos dicen pío, pío, pío. Cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío. La gallina busca el maíz y el trigo y les da la comida y les presta abrigo. I'm trying to flip and sing. Bajo sus dos alas acurrucaditos duermen los pollitos hasta el otro día. So if I go back, you might have noticed that there's Spanish language and English language right there too. So let me go back and do this again. So los pollitos dicen means the little chickies squeal. So pío, pío, pío means they're squealing. And cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío means when they are cold, when they are hungry. So of course chicks or children just in general squeal when they're hungry or cold. So then it goes, la gallina busca el maíz y el trigo. So the mama goes to get them corn from their field. And les da la comida y les presta abrigo. Serves them each their food and warms them head to heel. So she's feeding them. And it goes, bajo sus dos alas acurrucaditos. Chickies sleep so yummy, snuggled up with their mommy. That's sort of confusing, but they did it to rhyme. Duermen los pollitos hasta el otro día. And that's just where they'll stay until another day. So a super, super cool book, and really easy to use with kiddos. And fun because they like the flaps, popping up and things happening underneath. So it's another great book that you can use with kiddos in a large group setting, or put into a center. You don't have to worry because, like I said, just like De Colores, it's a board book, so it's made to be sort of handled by kids. It's meant to be rough, so you don't need to worry about putting that into a center. And actually, I'm not sure about Los Pollitos, but I just saw De Colores was only $7 on Amazon, so pretty cheap and great to use. Let me show you a couple things that can go along with these songs before I hit my last book. So Los Pollitos especially is a song that I've known growing up. I learned it in elementary Spanish, actually. And so it's a pretty fun song. I actually did a whole set. I do these favorite folk song sets about different songs. So I did one all about Los Pollitos. Let me just show you a couple things in here. If you wanted to take this song and upgrade it maybe for a higher grade, like a 3rd, 4th, 5th, you could use this, and this gives you a little bit of the history. I know, sorry, with my FaceTime camera it's backwards, but you can see some of the history. You can see some of, what is a folk song. Let me just go through Los Pollitos. It talks about when it's first written down. It talks about Chile, where it's originally from, or where it could potentially be from. We actually sort of know who the original composer was. There's a profile on him. It talks about nursery rhymes. Why are animals saying different things in Spanish-speaking countries? Why don't they say cock-a-doodle-doo? Well, they just don't. They say what the people there think they say. So all just different information about the song, things that you could use in case you wanted to use this with a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, or even 5th. This gives a little bit more context so that if you wanted to, do the Spanish language, there it is, and then you could explain parts of it to make it just work a little bit better with older kids. Okay, but one more resource in case you want it. Let me pop over here to YouTube. So the people who made Los Pollitos actually made a video for it too. So let me just play a tiny bit of this.
Hola! Hello! Llegaste justo a tiempo.
So you can see that the images actually match what you see on the screen because it's the same illustrator.
Los pollitos dicen pío, 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 cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío. La gallina busca el maíz y el trigo, les da la comida y les presta abrigo. Bajo sus dos alas, acurrucaditos, duermen los pollitos hasta el otro día.
And then a really cool feature you'll see in a second.
Otra vez. Again? In English.
So then it goes through the song again in English and gives a little bit more. Which I think is sort of cool. It's nice if you've read the book or talked about it or learned it and then you want a reinforcement or you have 3 minutes at the end of class, you can show that to kids and they really, really eat that up. Actually, from the same people who made this one, the illustrators who did that one, there's another one for De Colores.
Chicos, vamos a cantar. Ay, a Kiki le encantan las mariposas. Butterflies. Son tan bonitas y pueden volar. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera.
So I could go through and show you all of that, but it really is just another cool visual. Sorry, I'm really zoomed in here. It's another cool visual that you can use with students that gives them a little bit more. Again, if you want them to hear Spanish language singers, if you're not as comfortable with it, or if you have, just a few minutes, or a substitute teacher, and you want to use that, that's nice to have those free options on YouTube available if you want that. Let me show you one more book, and this was recommended to me by someone who saw one of the previous videos that I did about Hispanic Heritage Month books and sent this idea to me, so I got it and I wanted to share just a little bit with you. So this is called Grandma's Records, and this is by Eric Velasquez. Let me read just a little bit and sort of tell you a little bit of the story. Every year, right after the last day of school, I'd pack a suitcase with my cool summer clothes, my favorite toys, and a sketchbook. Then my dog, Daisy, and I were off to Grandma's apartment in El Barrio because my parents worked. Grandma's apartment was my summer home. From the time my parents dropped me off until the day they picked me up, Grandma wrapped me in her world of music. Sometimes, when she played a record, we would dance together. Other times, she would dance alone and tell me her stories about growing up in Puerto Rico. When Grandma played a merengue from the Dominican Republic, her hips would sway from side to side. As her favorite salsa record plays, she'd say, "Just listen to that conga," while she played an imaginary drum. Grandma liked all types of music, but one record was very special to her. Whenever she played it, she'd put her hand over her heart and close her eyes as she sang along. When it was over, Grandma would sometimes sit quietly, thinking about Grandpa and the old days in Santurce, her home. Sometimes, Grandma said, a song can say everything that is in your heart, as if it was written just for you. So the rest of the story goes on, talks more about her records, talks about he started choosing for her. He started choosing things, how he would draw things that he was inspired by, that he heard in the music. What's really cool is that then her nephew shows up, and he's in a band, and he's in a band with Ismael Rivera, and so they come for a home-cooked meal, and then they give Grandma 2 tickets to a concert, like a premiere sort of a concert. So they get ready, they got all prepared, they go to the concert, and they love it. Obviously, it's a really cool sort of transformative experience for him and his grandma. He comes and they sing that special song, the one that reminded her of her husband in Puerto Rico, their home. And the little kid is so surprised that all the people in the audience, just like his grandma did earlier on in the story, where is that? Just like his grandma did, put her hand on her heart and raised her hand, all the people in the audience were doing that. And he realizes that's because they all are feeling the same thing. This song reminds them all of home. So a really, really cool story. And then it talks about how he, grows up. He starts bringing over other music, things that are a little bit different. His grandma, he always has this special relationship. And then how he remembers, even now, it says, even now when I'm playing CDs in my studio, I imagine I'm back at Grandma's living room, and she turns to me and says, you be the DJ today. Siempre me gusta tu selección. Which means I always like what you choose. And as I work, Grandma's special song surrounds me. So, super, super cool book. It's a little bit fun to talk about records because most kids don't really know what they are unless their parents are hipsters and like vinyl at home. But it's also cool because it talks about a lot of different styles of music. It talks about music coming from different places. And then it has that connection to Ismael Rivera and the combo he's a part of. So it's just another super cool book, one that you might consider using if you're doing Hispanic Heritage Month, or if you're talking about Hispanic musicians. This is a great tie-in. So this book, Grandma's Records, you can find, I got it on a discount book website, but you can find it online. If you're interested in any of the books that I've talked about and you're like, but I want to get those, there's that link on Facebook, and let me actually show you where it'll take you. So I was able to create a list on Amazon. Let me see if I can zoom in here, of like all my favorite stuff. And so on here, let's see if I can see it. So on here, I have a list of like my favorite puppets, my favorite general resources, my favorite tech, and then on there are like books based on songs. So there's a whole list of books that are based on songs, and right there at the top is De Colores and Los Pollitos, and then there's also the musical biography books that I put in a couple that I've already talked about. The When Angels Sing, that one I showed last time about Carlos Santana, and Celia Cruz is in here as well. Tito Puente, I talked a little bit about that. So all of those are there if you're interested, and even if you decide, oh gosh, sorry, I'm so zoomed in. Even if you decide, I don't want to get them from Amazon, I don't want to pay full price, but I do want to see what the book is, you can go there and read all the information, get the ISBN, get all of that in case you want to go have your librarian order it for you to put in your school library, or if you want to use, funds at school and you have to write it down and get it from Scholastic or wherever, this page will be a place where you can go and get all that information if you're interested. Okay, those are just a few books that I found that I really love. If you have any other books that are you think would be great for Hispanic Heritage Month, please send me a message and let me know. Like I said, this one was a recommendation from someone who watched one of the previous videos. So if you have other videos or other books, I'd love to look them up and see how they might fit in my classroom and share them with you. Or if you have any questions about where to find the book or want to know more about it, let me know, shoot me a message, or send me an email at makemomentsmatter@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to share more. All right, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend.